I'm Theo.
And I'm Juliette.
And this is Apologies Accepted.
We offer an entertaining look at some of the big issues in history by examining public apologies of the famous and infamous.
We're looking at politicians, serial killers, actors, and you.
Send us a public apology you would like to make, and we'll read it on the air and give you a chance to redeem yourself or just get some guilt off your shoulders.
We're here for you. Once a week, maybe more if you're really, really sorry. Hey, everybody.
This is Apologies Accepted.
The podcast.
And I'm not Theo.
And I am not Juliette.
And I'm not in Palm Springs enjoying my beautiful vacation home and pool. And I'm not being visited by friends who love me and all kinds of fun stuff. None of that is happening for me. I'm not going out to brunch and dinner in the same day. I'm doing none of that. What are you not doing? Anything.
Well, I'll tell you. I'm also not enjoying my beautiful vacation home, but I do have lovely friends who are visiting. Yes, I'm just secretly behind the scenes fixing things as they break. So, but yeah, and we leave tomorrow, so very short visit. It has been really nice. And let's see, brag, I made French toast for everybody this morning and bacon and sausage. And I was like, I don't know if anybody even eats this stuff, but I'll make it because that just feels like, the kind of
sweet
food you want to have around as you're preparing to pack your car up and drive into Los Angeles to catch your 12-hour flight. So holiday send-off food.
Oh, my God. 12-hour flight after that little drive. That's no fun. Where are they going, back to England?
Yep. So flying back to England, and I'm just like, wow, 12 hours.
French toast is a great idea.
Yeah, but things are what they are. And so there we go. And
there we go.
That's my bacon. And we'll specifically not talk about world politics and what's happening with the dawn of World War III. And we'll just say things are a little too in motion and new for anybody to really quite know what's going on. So we'll keep it light this episode. What about you? What's shaking bacon? Now that I've brought everybody down.
I have more good news. A little lighter, but still not great. I leaned over to pick up my laundry out of my laundry basket and pulled a muscle in my back. That's how I know I'm old.
I'm not laughing.
I'm super old. You can laugh. It's funny. But I'm super old. I had to get a prescription for muscle relaxants from my doctor, and that's being taken care of. It's getting better gradually, so that's good. Got to sit with ice packs and all that kind of nonsense. And then the other day, I was putting on my shoes, and I was standing on one leg, putting on my other shoe, and I fell over because I'm a clumsy idiot. And I hit my face on a shelf of the bookshelf. I hit my chin on the edge of the shelf, and boy, did that hurt. And I thought the bookshelf was going to come crashing down on me. And then I thought I broke my jaw, and then I thought I broke my teeth. But none of those things happened, fortunately. And it's just a big red mark on my face now and a bruise on the inside of my lip. So I feel really clumsy and old and dumb. And the good news, though, is that I got my sardine pants in the mail. So I don't know if...
that is the good news.
That is the good news. I don't know if anyone listening is familiar with the sardine pants, but you've probably seen them everywhere. I know they've been on TikTok and they've been just everywhere. They're the white pants with blue sardines on them, and then in red it says sardines, so you know what they are. And I just saw them and fell in love with them, and they were $9 on Amazon, which means that they're super, super thin. So I think they're only good for beach cover-ups or something like that, which means I need to go to a beach this year to justify my $9 purchase. But
you have to
they're really cute. I like them a lot.
$500 on an airplane ticket to Greece so that you can justify the purchase of your $9 pants.
At least. Oh, and then I also bought tickets to see Lena Lovitch. I don't know if you know who she is. I think you do. She's a singer, and she's one of the first albums I bought when I was like 11 or 12 years old was her album Stateless. And I've always kind of wanted to see her, but never really thought about it at the same time. And then it turns out that she's on tour with Devo and the B-52s. So I bought tickets to the Shoreline Amphitheater to see all of them. And I probably will just leave after Lena Lovitch because I don't really care that much about Devo and the B-52s. But they weren't cheap tickets. They weren't super expensive, but they were a lot of money for like a half hour probably of music. But it's something I want to do, so yeah, it's worth it.
Well, I mean, I'm going to say, one, that sounds awesome and cool, and I'm glad you get to see her perform live, but also she's still performing live, and you bought her first album when you were 11. Was she 11 when she recorded it?
She's probably 10 years older than me, so I was 11, she was probably 21 or something like that.
All right.
So that makes her... So I'm almost 60. I'm 57, 58. And so she'd be like 67 or 68. And I've seen clips of her performing, and she's still doing pretty well, which is amazing considering the type of stuff that she sings. So I'm curious, and it'll be fun even if she's bad, I think. Yeah. So, and I got special parking, so I don't have to fight the traffic.
Oh my God. No, that's the sign you're old. It's not falling over. It's you paid for special parking.
I paid $100 for special parking. I'm 100 years old. I just don't want the hassle. I don't need that kind of bullshit hassle.
I mean, fair enough.
So, yeah. So this week we have an uplifting story. Let's get into it, shall we? Last Saturday, the Red River Gorge General Store in Kentucky received a handwritten apology letter from a young boy. Now, what I want to know is how are they assuming this was a young boy? I've seen the handwriting of that letter, and it looks like at least a 13-year-old to me. I mean, not that that's not a young boy, but I think the guy is probably 16, maybe even 17. And they're treating this kid like he's 5. So I think there's going to be some disappointment in the future of the Red River Gorge General Store if they think that this is a child.
I mean, maybe. I didn't even really think about that, but you're right.
Really?
It does not look like the handwriting nor the spelling of a small child. It's not some fucking... Not a 5-year-old who did this.
It's not. It's even in regular handwriting, and I think that's probably about as good as I could do at my advanced age of 100. So I think it's probably at least a 15-year-old. But anyway, what happened? Let's talk about what happened. While visiting with his family, the boy realized he had accidentally walked out with an unpaid-for brownie-flavored cowtail candy priced at $1.99. He felt responsible, so he enclosed $3 in his letter to cover the cost and a little extra. The store's manager, Adrian McMahon, described the gesture as a genuine display of integrity, saying, "It really made me have faith in humanity. It's a level of integrity that I don't think is common. The fact that a little kid, a tiny human, wrote this letter out apologizing, taking responsibility, shows that he is a good little guy, obviously comes from great parents." Again, I don't think he's a little tiny human, but we'll see. The story went viral after the store shared it on Facebook, earning thousands of likes and shares. In response, the store is on a mission to find the family based on the letter's return address, so I don't think it'll be very hard to find them, to thank them personally. They're planning to gift them a basket of goodies and even a 2-night stay at a nearby cabin. McMahon said, "Everybody can take a lesson from this, young or old. All of us can recognize a wrong, correct it, and live life with integrity and positivity." That's the message I got from this letter. So that's the story. That's all I got. It's not very long. It's short and sweet. It's potentially uplifting.
Depending on how you want to look at it, sure.
Yeah. Any comments or thoughts?
Yeah, actually, a couple. Well, one thought in particular, right? And this will lead to my ranking of it. So, in the letter, he blames his brother, right? It's my little brother gave me this candy bar as we were walking out, and I thought it was paid for. Well, I guess why don't we read the apology? Because I'm moving into ranking territory.
Okay, sure. The apology says, "To whom it may concern, my family visited your store last week, and my little brother handed me a brownie-flavored cowtail I thought my mom had purchased. I didn't discover it was not paid for until we were far down the road. I am so sorry for this, but I have money enclosed in this envelope to cover the cost. Sincerely, name redacted.
Yeah, and so the first couple times, it's like Shakespeare. You read it and you read it and you read it, and you uncover something new and a deeper meaning every time. So the first couple times I read it, it read as my little brother handed me this thing, and so therefore this is all his fault, right? But now that you've read it with your tone of voice, it's much less snarky, and I'm like, oh, well, then I guess maybe that's a reasonable explanation of what happened. But I'm still going to go with we're throwing our little brother under the bus, or my new favorite expression, it's a little bussy. Yeah. Yeah, I on purpose am never using slang that I've made up because a valuable lesson was learned. Yeah. So let's go ahead and evaluate it.
So I didn't really read it that way. I just thought, he was walking out of the store. His brother handed him a candy. He thought his mom had bought it. Blah blah blah. But let's use our trusted criteria. Was there an expression of regret? Yes. He said, "I'm so sorry for this." An explanation of what went wrong? Yes. His brother handed him something that he thought had been purchased. An acknowledgement of responsibility? I say yes. I say, he took it upon himself to fix the situation, so that's an acknowledgement of responsibility. You're probably going to say no and say that he tried to blame it on his brother. So we'll get to that when I let you talk. Declaration of repentance? Yes. He said a simple "I'm sorry" without trying to justify anything. Was there an offer of repair? Yeah. He sent $3 in this envelope with an apology. It's pretty good. And the only thing we're missing is a request for forgiveness. So he did say, "I'm so sorry," but he didn't say, "Please forgive me," or "Please," whatever. So I would rate the apology an 8 out of 10, and I would definitely accept this apology.
Okay, so I'm going to go with my original take on this, although I think your take is the correct one, right? But here's how I read the letter. To whom it may concern, my family visited your store last week, and my little brother handed me a brownie, handed me a brownie-flavored cowtail I thought my mom had purchased, right? I am the innocent one, right?
Right.
I didn't discover it was not paid for until we were far down the road. I am so sorry, open parens, that my little brother is such an asshole, close parens, for this error, open parens, that my brother created, close parens. But I have money enclosed in the envelope to cover the cost, open parens, because I'm a hero, close parens, period. Right? So I gave it like a brother. 2 or a 3 because I felt like he was really putting the blame on his brother, and this was all just a move to cast himself in the hero light. And there can only be one hero, and it's me. So get out of my limelight, kid. But I think your reading of it, actually, I'd be more inclined to say, yeah, let's rank it high. So we'll give it an 8. I, as sometimes happens with apologies, misunderstood the situation and put my own interpretation on it and did not let the facts, that's not a word, facts speak for themselves. So I would go with a good solid 8 as well.
I actually think it's a more complete apology than we've seen from adults, including celebrities or politicians. So I think it's really pretty good. And I give it bonus points for tone because my opinion, my interpretation, it's honest and respectful. And he mailed the letter without any expectations or, calling the newspaper to alert them that he was doing this. So I think
I think you're totally right about the age of the kid. Yeah. Because just the language use alone, I didn't discover it was not paid for until we were far down the road. I mean, that's a complete sentence and more complex structure than what an 8-year-old might be able to cough up.
Yeah, I think so for sure. So we'll see if they find this family, if the family responds to them. And I guess I said that they wanted to give them a basket of goodies and a 2-night stay in a cabin in Kentucky. No thanks.
This store is going to give this store to the kid by the time they're done heaping praise upon him. I mean, wow.
So, yeah. So, all right. So, we've come to an agreement.
Yes.
We haven't ever debate.
Once again, you are right. You are rarely wrong. I, in this short little sweet story, have a brief history of shoplifting. And
interesting.
It's pretty brief because you can imagine, like, not a lot. We all know what it is. It happens in every culture, right? So here we go. Shoplifting, the act of stealing goods from a retail store without paying, has existed for as long as people have exchanged goods in a marketplace. However, it became recognized as a distinct criminal offense in the 17th century. In England, as consumer culture expanded with the rise of department stores and open shelving, authorities noticed a surge in petty theft. The Shoplifting Act of 1699 was passed in Britain, specifically targeting this type of theft. Talk about being an 8-year-old and making it a capital crime. So stealing a wig could get you hanged. Over time, this law was repealed and penalties were reduced as the crime became more common and less socially shocking. In the United States, shoplifting was initially prosecuted under general theft statutes until it began receiving focused attention in the 20th century. The post-World War II retail boom and rise of self-service stores brought an increase in incidents, prompting legislative action. States like California and New York began enacting specific shoplifting laws by the 1950s and 60s, treating it as a distinct crime rather than subsuming it under broader larceny laws. Legal reforms have since added civil recovery statutes allowing retailers to sue shoplifters and diversion programs, especially for juvenile offenders. Today, penalties vary by state and the value of goods, but shoplifting remains one of the most common forms of theft worldwide. And now I have a list of slang terms for shoplifters.
Oh.
Yeah, who knew? If I called you a booster, would you be offended?
I'm not sure.
You would be, unless you were a shoplifter, because that is a professional or habitual shoplifter, often working in teams. A lifter, I worked in retail. I have never heard any of these, right? Well, I've heard of the 5-finger discount, and so this one is a 5-finger discounter. A sweater, someone who conceals items under their clothing. A bazaar artist, which was apparently a 19th century British slang for a skilled, usually well-dressed thief in department stores. Snatcher, shelf sweeper, and conceal artist. And as I said, like, none of those. Booster maybe rings a very faint bell, not in my real life, but maybe like I've heard it in movies, maybe, right?
Yeah.
The rest of it, I don't know. And then the economic impact of shoplifting in the United States. According to the National Retail Federation, U.S. retailers lost $112 billion in 2022 between shoplifting and organized retail crime. And, define that as you will. Yes. And then let's see, how does shoplifting affect prices? The cost of shoplifting doesn't just vanish. Those costs are passed on to consumers. Retailers raise prices to offset losses, increasing what everyone pays at the register. This practice is sometimes called the theft tax. And for example, the National Retailer Federation? Yes. NRF estimates that shoplifting increases retail prices by 0.5% all the way up to 2% on average, depending on the type of store. High theft product categories like electronics, cosmetics, and baby formula are often priced higher or locked behind glass, which can reduce sales and further disrupt the shopping experience. And some retailers respond by investing more in security, cameras, guards, anti-theft tags, which adds to operational cost. So shoplifting, while it is, I was going to call it a victimless crime, and that's because I don't think of retailers as victims when people steal from them, but it's not. And so every time you steal a candy bar, kids, you increase the cost of candy bars. And that's it. That's what I got. Yeah, so stop stealing candy bars.
Yeah, we can't take the price increases anymore. That's why eggs are so expensive, because people are stealing them.
That is the reason why eggs. Wasn't bird flu.
Wasn't anything. Wasn't tariffs.
It was all those damn egg stealers.
Oh, those egg stealers, egg boosters. Do you have a apology expected or a who's sorry now this week?
I do not, because mine will only focus on politics and news, and let's just not right now. Boo.
Oh, I have one.
Good.
Mine is good. Prominent Catholic advocacy group, Catholic Vote, has launched a petition and sent a letter to Apple CEO Tim Cook calling for the removal of a scene in Your Friends and Neighbors starring Jon Hamm on Apple TV. They say it depicts Eucharistic desecration. 2 characters steal consecrated hosts from a church tabernacle, eat them like snacks, make mocking blessings, and then hook up in the pews. So far, Apple has not responded.
Yeah, and I can't imagine that they will rush out with a response. I've watched the first episode of that show.
Oh, you did?
I did, because, it's Jon Hamm, and I really liked Mad Men, and Apple, I want it to succeed as a production company, if you will, right? I just find their original programming falls flat for me.
Oh,
right? And
that's too bad.
For me, it's got the feeling of this could have been a movie, but something about it is just so often wrong that we'll throw it on TV. Yeah, and it's hard for me to define or describe what that vibe is. But if you watch the first episode of this series with Jon Hamm, Friends and Neighbors, it's a prime example of what does Theo think failed movie turned into a TV series looks like. Looks like that.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It was watchable. I just didn't care for it.
That's too bad. I'd like to see Jon Hamm being successful because he seems like a really nice guy. I've heard him on several podcasts, and he seems like a decent human being. But who could be sure? You can never tell.
Well, the fact that I don't like his series means he has failed miserably in his career, and they probably will take all the money they gave him away.
Oh,
I know, poor John. He'll just have to go back to being handsome and well endowed.
Yeah. A fate worse than death. All right. I think that's it for this week. Any final parting words, Mr. Theo?
Not a final parting word at all, other than don't trip potato chip.
And stay cool, cucumbers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Apologies Accepted, the podcast.
You can find links to the articles and the sources in the show notes.
To submit an apology or find out more, visit us at apologiesaccepted.net, where you can also find our merchandise.
We're on Twitter at Apologies Accepted.
And on Instagram at apologies.accepted.
You can support our important work at Patreon.com/Apologies Accepted.
And fuck Facebook.
Bye.
Bye.